What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Lock. What's up?
No, nothing.
Keep that. You want to just keep it? Let's just roll with it.
Yeah.
Good. All right. So, conference championship weekend, everybody. Welcome back. Listen, we're getting a little sad, Bruce. Football's coming to an end. What are we going to do on this podcast when there's no football?
I mean, I'm almost glad after last week.
Last week was pretty bad. We got everything wrong last week.
Yeah. So, but it's okay. I mean, we did say that that the Houston game was either going to be a backdoor cover or we were going to miss.
Blowout.
Yeah, we
missed.
Yeah, and we didn't think that it was going to be a close game throughout, right? Yeah. So, it just
I would say that the worst read last week, we don't have to talk about too much, but I would say the worst read was the Niners. Yes. I think every other team, the Bucs were tied in the third quarter, the Texans were tied at halftime, and the Bills had a lead back and forth throughout the game. It was a back and forth game the whole way.
Yep.
The only bad read was the Niners not being able to stop Aaron Jones and Jordan Love. Ran all over them, which is we're going to talk about that for next week.
Yeah.
But they ran all over them. That was brutal.
You should play into this. And then in UFC, another perfect.
Perfect 2-0 on the pod last week.
Another perfect. We've been perfect, I think.
So far this year.
Yeah.
On the pod, you haven't missed one. Yeah.
Haven't missed.
Congratulations on this run. Amazing run. I mean, it's hard, man, to give out picks. People criticize you if you're wrong. This is not an easy game.
Yeah, and
guys, if you want to go out, you want to give picks out there, you want to be handicappers, rethink your career decisions. All right,
yeah, it's rough. It's rough. You know how rough it is? I've been doing UFC with Justin on the team since we started this.
Yes, over 3 years ago.
And the first time I show my face and give a UFC pick, the comments are like.
Who's the new guy?
Who's the new guy stinking up UFC? You guys haven't hit a pick since a new guy came in.
Yes, that was my favorite. Remember I sent you that comment? I was like, oh, that was so funny. Somebody was like, ever since Bruce took over, I'm like, Bruce has been here for years.
What the hell, man?
Man.
So if you're thinking about starting a career in
rethink it.
Yeah,
no, it's a lot of fun. But honestly, right after that horrible weekend, we're on a crazy streak in basketball right now.
Right.
So that's on the plus side. Actually, in this year, I was looking at this morning, this year in college hoops, we're like 66% against the spread since January 1st, like 27-14, something crazy like that. So we're on a pretty hot run in college and NBA too, but NBA is kind of fluky. NBA with the freaking 20-point blown leads. And last night we had the Wolves -3.5. They're up like 10 points in the fourth. They end up winning by 2. Like, where did the offense go? They scored like 12 points in the fourth quarter. I'm like, all right, anyway.
They're trying to go home.
But this weekend, 2 really good matchups. And we're going to basically, in this episode, guys, just break down both matchups, give you our leans on the games, and kind of like what we see as the matchup advantages and what kind of scenarios can play out in terms of game script and stuff like that. So we'll start off with Chiefs versus Ravens. And listen, we all watched the game last week. Buffalo was my favorite play. By the way, it wasn't a bigger play. Like I was all over Twitter on Sunday or X, and a lot of max plays on the Bills, 15, 20 units being lost on one game on the Bills. So it was just a 2-unit play for us. But that was my favorite personal play because I thought they had a shot to win it all. And the Kansas City offense just woke up, dude. Like, where was this offense all year long? So I feel like for me, the main question is, did they kind of click? Did something get fixed? Or was this a response to like hearing the narrative all week of like, oh, it's Pat Mahomes' first road playoff game. It's finally the Bills' year. They're the 2 seed. They get a home game. Like, was it just like extra motivation? Like, I don't know if you saw after the game in the locker room, it kind of seemed like they were more fired up than normal. So maybe there was something personal there, or is it just, did they do something schematically that seems to be working now?
Well, so did they wake up, or?
I'm not convinced personally, but you can give your take on it.
I think there's 2 things. I think Kelsey is healthier now than he was throughout the season.
Sure.
So you got more production out of Kelsey in that. He had a great game. 75 yards, 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Like when Pat Mahomes and Kelsey are clicking, the offense plays different. You could do more things on the outside. You could do more things in the run game. But if you look at the numbers, they're not that much different.
Yeah.
Right? Like, what does it look like through the first 16 games of the year versus the last 4? And I picked the last 4 because, you got 2 playoff games,
for sure.
two games at the end of the year. Their yards per game on passing hasn't gotten better. It's gone down.
Yeah.
Their rushing offense has gone up, so they averaged 5.2 yards per carry in the last 4 games.
Yeah.
They average 4 throughout the entire
Yeah,
season.
Pacheco's gone hot.
Yeah, but you know what has gotten a lot better? Why don't you take a guess? Because this is going to play heavily into our narrative.
I see it here on the.
What's got
the good old zebras?
Yeah. So what's gotten better? What's gotten better, Jeff?
Their
Over the last-
penalties.
Yeah.
Penalties called per game has gone way down.
About half.
Half.
They're getting called on about 3 penalties per game.
Yeah.
They averaged about 6.2. Their highest during the season was like 12, 13.
Yeah.
So that's cut in half. Their penalty yards has been cut in half.
It's a big deal.
So they're not getting put in these like 3rd and long, 2nd and long, positions,
Yep.
which obviously allows the offense to
Absolutely.
move down the field
For
a little
sure.
bit more. So
Yeah.
how are you looking at this game versus the Ravens with that in mind?
Yeah. Well, we know who the ref is now. You guys may have seen. We have a video coming about it, but I talked about it a little bit in the last video on YouTube. But Sean Smith has been assigned to the game. He's a notorious, guys, by the way. If you don't know who Sean Smith is, there's not every referee has ATS trends that you can point to, but a lot of them have, or some of them have a theme associated with them.
Mm-hmm.
And Sean Smith's a heavy road team referee. So
My guy,
you gotta
who's on the road this week.
yeah, the Chiefs are on the road, and you're getting 3 in the hook. So there's a lot that goes along with this. So like
Mhm.
initially, and honestly still now, I think the Ravens will win the game, but the referee trend points heavily to the Chiefs. We know who the league wants to win this game. There's no doubt about it. Sometimes you can kind of like question it back and forth. Like, well, I could see a reason they would want both teams.
No.
There's no reason they don't want Taylor Swift at the
Taylor
Super Bowl.
Swift in the Super Bowl.
There's no reason they don't.
There's
I'm
nothing.
laughing because you jumped into my frame with you. Taylor Swift in the Super Bowl.
Taylor Swift. There's nothing more
Yeah.
that the NFL wants than
They want that.
37 shots
Yes.
between plays
Yes.
of Taylor Swift.
It's
in
like the
Super
Niners
Bowl.
score a touchdown, they cut to Taylor Swift.
Right. What's the reaction? Is she sad? Does she know what happened?
Like this weekend in San Francisco, they'll be like, let's cut over to Baltimore. Let's see Taylor. So yeah, they definitely want the Swift effect going there to Vegas for the Super Bowl. But aside from that, aside from the referee angle, everything else
Baltimore.
is Baltimore.
Yeah.
I mean, this is like what they've worked for all year. Like this is where you cannot come into a game in better form than they are right now.
No.
Completely dominant on both sides of the ball, a home game, and
Getting healthier.
getting healthy. Yeah, exactly. Getting healthy. Mark Andrews coming back potentially, right? Like
Marlon Humphrey's coming back on the defensive
Humphrey. I
side.
forgot about Humphrey.
As if they needed
Ah,
more firepower.
Oh my gosh. Now
on the
Mahomes is a
defense.
big challenge,
Yeah.
right, for sure. But like, I think to myself, the Bills ran for nearly 200 yards on them. So the Ravens are one of the best. I think they were the 2nd or 3rd best rushing offense in the league.
And
They should be
haven't-
able to move the chains easily on them.
Yeah,
You know?
and they haven't really let Lamar cook outside
Yeah.
the pocket throughout
Yeah.
the year. When you see in the playoffs, you saw how Lamar got unleashed a little bit, but you saw Josh Allen get unleashed,
Oh,
where
he
they were
went
just
off.
like,
Yeah.
listen, we need a win. Forget your health concerns in the playoffs.
However
like,
you can do it. Yeah.
however you can do it. So you do see a lot more of that in the playoffs of like
For sure.
opening up the playbook on the things that are kind of unsustainable,
Yeah.
but
Yes.
effective.
Absolutely.
So like
For sure.
that's super interesting. We saw Josh Allen go nuts on the ground.
On the ground. It's 2 touchdowns on the ground.
So
Yeah, and they kind of kept them in what they did really well, which I could see them potentially doing too to Baltimore, was they limited the big play really well.
Yeah.
There was no big throws downfield. The one that they got was dropped.
Yep.
But when you only take one shot downfield, if you take 5, okay, you get 2 drops, but you catch 3 big plays.
Yep.
They only got one opportunity to go long, and it didn't work out. So they kept them really, but it's harder to keep an offense like the Ravens in that box because now they not only have the legs alone, but they've got weapons at receiver. Like Zay Flowers is a big weapon now. So they've got these guys that didn't have in years before, the wideouts that can really run. So
And they've been
It's-
doing all this without Mark Andrews.
it's unbelievable, dude. Imagine him coming back. Yeah. But Isaiah likely has played great for them at tight end.
True.
Really good.
But
Yeah.
imagine you have both.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, for sure.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
So it's
And by the way, it's not just Mark Andrews as a weapon. He's a great run blocking type. Their run game improves when he's in too.
Mhm.
So it's like multiple facets of the game will get better with him coming back. But I can see a game where the Ravens control it on the ground and the Chiefs are going to get their points no matter what. But can you kind of like that threshold of 20? Like when Mahomes gets 21 or more points, he's almost unbeatable. Like, but the KC offense this year had a lot of games where they were 17, 18, 19, 16. If they break that 20-point mark, it's going to be one of those games, I think, where, if whichever team scores 24, maybe wins this game. I think it's going to be one of those.
I don't see how you can pick. I would love to see what the handle on this is actually.
Yeah,
like,
check it out. Let's check it out.
Are people really buying the Taylor Swift narrative?
Yeah,
right.
Yeah,
because if they are, then maybe I want to fade that. Right. It's like if this is the spot to collect the check. If you were going to collect the check on the Taylor Swift narrative,
yeah, for
if that handle is heavy on the Chiefs this weekend,
you've got I mean, now this data is not the public retail book handle data is never always accurate,
right,
guys? But it's like a little indication of where things are. But it's looking like there's more money on Baltimore, 65% of the money. And the bets are even 50-50. Now, that's retail books. What happened in the sharp books when this line first opened? It got bought up. So it was 3, went to 3.5. So early sharp money was on Baltimore, but now it's settled at 3.5. So that means that there's bettors at those sharp books that are seeing value on both sides because it's not moving. So there are guys buying the 3.5. There are guys buying the plus 3 and the minus 3.5.
Yeah.
If you were to see this come down to 3, that would mean like a big syndicate or something came in on the Chiefs.
Right.
But Mahomes with 3 in the hook is crazy, dude, in this game.
Is.
I mean, it's like, this is why this makes this game so difficult. This is why, by the way, when I was prepping for this podcast, I just went and looked at the total, and I was like, maybe I just fucking bet the total in this game. Because this is too difficult. Like, this is a very difficult game to handicap.
Yeah. If you're picking sides on this one,
yeah.
If you're picking a money line or a point spread, holy cow.
This is rough.
This
is rough.
Rough.
Rough, yeah.
Rough.
This is rough. Yeah. I was going to say brutal and rough, and I said bruff.
This is a rough game.
But I mean, how about some trends? You want to look at some trends real quick to see? So one of the things that I always remember with Lamar, and by the way, I think the winner of this game wins the whole thing.
Yeah.
Because Jackson is unbelievable against the NFC. It's like 20-1 now. Remember when we had them against the Niners on that Monday night game? That was like his 20th win. 20-1 straight up against the NFC. But against the AFC, it's very much like a toss-up. Very 50-50, right? Which kind of makes sense. Your conference, your division.
Yep.
But when so favorites of 3.5 or more in general do well in this round, 59% against the spread. But Lamar, as a favorite, once you get to that 3 in the hook, he has not been profitable. He's down, he's like 30-something, mid-30s% against the spread. But when you catch him below that, which is why maybe that early number of 3 was favorable for the people who bought it up, but the 3.5 tends to not be a good number for him now. That's in seasons past. This year they've been pretty good.
Yeah.
So they've pretty much crushed everybody. But the other thing is like Mahomes is a dog. I mean, insane. I mean, just in the Chiefs' last 20 games, they're 16-4 ATS as a dog. So that's a massive trend right there. And overall, I think Mahomes in his career as a favorite of less than 3 or an underdog in that range is something Chris like 23-3, something insane with him just against the spread.
Right.
Yeah.
But you look at Baltimore this year.
Yeah. No, insane.
They've had multiple 15 or more point wins over teams that are above 500.
Ridiculous.
Like they're beating the brakes off good teams on tight turnarounds.
Yes.
Sunday to Thursday. Like they're beating the brakes off people.
They killed the Niners. They killed the Lions. Remember that one?
Yeah.
They just killed the Texans. Like, I mean, nobody's been competitive with them. Very few. I mean, what was the one team? The Rams took them to overtime, and the Browns beat them. Like that was it. Like,
which is a divisional game.
Exactly.
Which we love AFC North divisional dogs.
Yeah, and the Steelers beat them twice.
Yeah.
But the last game wasn't. No, they sat everybody.
Yeah,
but still.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like when you think about it that way, like 3 of their losses are divisional games. Like, man, nobody has been able to compete with this team outside the AFC North. So for me, that makes it really difficult to pass this up. Like, and another thing I'll say is, no matter which side you go with on this game, this is one of those games, man, where you're just like, there's 3 games left in the season. Like, this is not a time to be like, I'm hammering the NFC Championship. Like, these are games that you bet because you want to watch them.
Yeah.
You put a unit on the game, you enjoy it, and you move on and you take your profits and go to next season. I think we're up like 19 units on the season. Not going to throw that away for the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And plus, Super Bowl, you want to spread it out. You want to play props and stuff like that. You want to have some fun.
Make it fun.
So these games, man, have fun. pick a side. You know, do your thing, pick a side, whatever you well researched, but don't go crazy with because the last thing you want to do is be like, you know, a max play on the Ravens, and then Mahomes wins, and you're like, how did I fade Mahomes as an underdog with a max play? You feel like an idiot. Yeah.
How do we fade the Taylor Swift narrative?
With a max play.
Yeah.
Like, you know, both of these games are like 1 unit bets and you move on.
Well,
Yeah.
speaking of that,
Yeah.
what's your lean here?
I'm still leaning Ravens.
Hammer it. Hammer it.
And it's a max play. And it's only $49.99.
Okay.
No, but I'm leaning Ravens. I just think.
Are you taking are you giving the points on it?
Yeah. -3.5. I'll probably play it for 1 unit. I just think the matchup advantages are too stark. I think the ground game, I think, is what's going to be.
Yeah.
And I just think the Ravens defense is not. Oh, the one thing I didn't mention, the Bills defense had so many injuries last week, which I included in our write-up when I sent out the bill. I said, they've got injuries on defense. I just don't think the KC offense will exploit them because they haven't been able to all year.
Yeah, and they did.
But they did. They did.
And also, one thing to note, Tooney, guard.
Yeah.
Guard for the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Rated 92 in Madden.
Questionable,
if
right?
If anybody cares.
Madden ratings are important.
Yeah.
They're important.
Highest rated offensive lineman on the Chiefs on Madden.
It's one of our best kept secrets. We handicap with Madden ratings, if you guys
Just
didn't know that.
Simulate them 100 times. Easy. Guys,
Yes,
you have
exactly.
the AI is there for you. Use
Exactly.
it.
Look up this player's Madden rating.
But yeah, he's questionable. He has a pectoral strain. He may be out. Like,
Yeah.
you don't want to give up any ground in the trenches.
Oh, man. No, not against this team.
Against
not
the
against
Ravens.
this team. Oh,
And
my God.
if your lead lineman is out, we saw Mahomes struggle when his offensive line was in
yes,
shambles
in the Super Bowl. Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's like,
Yeah,
you
for
know,
sure. That's a big one.
So-
Watch out for that. That's a big one.
If-
Yeah, and this is why we wait to the day of. Me personally, like I know a lot of sharps like to bet the opening line. If you want to go off course, we're good on time. I got 2 reasons why I don't like to bet the opening line. Because I like to wait and see for stuff like that, injuries, any news that comes up throughout the week. I like to hear sound bites what players say. And the second thing is that if you bet the opening line and you do it well, that you get limited really fast on those books. So I just avoid that completely.
Yeah.
Whenever someone's like, how come you don't have any limits, or do you get limited? I'm like, not really, honestly, because I don't bet openers. That's like the big thing.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, for me it's Ravens. How about you?
I'm gonna go Ravens.
Yeah,
They're just too good all around. And
anything on the total, or
no, because last week,
44.5 is the total.
yeah,
I think over.
I would probably go over on it.
It's over.
But last week
Oh.
I went under.
In which game? Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, well, same. Me too. Yeah, we both got screwed.
Yeah.
And by the way, overs in the conference championship round, 25-15 last 20 years. You would think this is an under round, right?
Yeah.
You would think as it goes on, 62% to the over.
More people watching.
Yeah.
More TV.
True.
More touchdowns.
More offense. That's right.
More offense.
All right, NFC. Lions 49ers, dude. The Lions were impressive last week to me. I don't know about you.
Yeah. The
they were
future
impressive.
losers of the Super Bowl. Maybe.
Maybe, perhaps.
Yeah.
The Niners were not impressive.
No.
Yeah. And the more I dug it, now, I like them last week despite what I'm about to say, only because I thought the Packers were way over. Like, the Packers were, like, performing so far over their heads.
Cinderella. They were like an NCAA championship.
Exactly. Like a 14 seed in
like Iona College. How'd they get
Iona
to the
College.
Sweet
You had to
16?
take a shot at my alma mater. You just had to do it. Iona, go Gales.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think for me it was a bigger fate of the Packers.
Yeah.
But the Niners didn't look as down. Now you want to say rust? Okay, I'm open. I'm all ears. If you want to say rust, you want to say the rain evens the playing field. I'm all ears there too. But their home stats all year long weren't great. You know, I personally, my handicap was against Green Bay's rushing defense, but they showed up. They played well.
Right.
They were able to limit them as much as they could. But at home, they do have one of the weaker they have the second best road defense in the NFL, but the 27th best home defense, which is kind of like weird. Doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
And
You want to know why?
why is that?
Stadiums filled with tech bros.
Is that you think that's
Not
what it
making
is?
any noise. Everybody's in a Patagonia vest.
Everybody's like on their phones.
on their
stuff.
phones.
Patagonia vest.
Nobody's making noise. I actually don't know if they do that out
That
there.
could be one reason why. That
You
could
know?
be. But yeah, 20.
Everybody in San Francisco is like,
like, come on, man, really?
why are you dragging me?
We're excited for this game.
Yeah.
But yeah, weak defense at home. Honestly, both of these secondaries are pretty leaky. I think it's going to be whoever runs the ball in this game. That's my personal opinion on this one. I think whoever finds success on the ground, is going to be the one that wins the game. Like, but that to me is bottom line. Now the Lions, second best rushing defense in the NFL, and one of the top 5, I believe, rushing offenses.
Yeah. And Jahmyr Gibbs is come on.
Gibbs is good. Niners, obviously, great rushing offense.
Yeah, they got a guy.
They got
Christian McCaffrey.
He's all right. He's not bad. Yeah.
Whatever, man.
Maybe the under could be a look in this game because of that aspect of both teams are probably going to look to try to pound the rock, and they both average. Here's a unique spot that I found. I made a video about this last year when the Niners played the Eagles in the NFC Championship game.
Mm-hmm.
They were 2 of the teams last year in the NFL that averaged over 130 rushing yards per game. Usually there's 4 or 5 each year of teams.
Yeah.
But when 2 teams like that, 130 is the key number. When they meet in the playoffs, it's only happened 6 times in the last 20 years. The under 6-0 in those games. When 2 teams that can really run the ball well, and this is one of those. Now you got the 7th. So in the last 20 years, this is the 7th time where both teams average over 130 rushing yards per game. The under is sitting at 51.5. Maybe a little bit too high. You can look at that. But for me, I think now that this has gone up, by the way, it was 7. Now it's 7.5. I got to lean Lions on this.
Yeah.
Give me a full touchdown with a hungry. The Lions haven't been here in forever.
Dan Campbell's.
They are hungry.
The veins in Dan Campbell's neck are dilated this entire week.
Yeah.
I feel like Dan Campbell's
He's just walking around like
just
vibrating.
shaking, just vibrating.
Dude, I'm just saying, like, this like the Packers game was like, all right, they gave you a little scare, but I don't think at any point, correct me if I'm wrong, at any point during the second half, I never, like, even when the Packers had a lead, I never like fully thought they were going to win the game.
No.
I was waiting for the drive for the Niners to break through.
Yeah.
Like the drive. But this is a game. You cannot do this. You cannot do that again. You can't flirt with disaster again because this team wants it so bad.
They want it so bad. They're good on both sides of the trenches, right? So that front
at the line of scrimmage.
They're really good. Their run game is great. So you know if they get up, they're running that ball, right? I think it's gonna really lean on Brock Purdy versus Jared Goff.
Yeah.
And I remember being in the group chat on Sunday, and you're like, Brock Purdy, pack it up. Brock Purdy's killing us.
I was so upset, dude.
Oh,
man, I was so upset.
He has to put it together.
Yeah. He hasn't. I mean, he played a decent. I mean, he led a game-winning drive.
Mm-hmm.
But McCaffrey just ran the ball into the end. So, like, I'm not trying to knock him. I like him. He's not. I'm not saying. I'm not like on the other. Like, you hear a lot of takes about he's just a game manager.
Yeah.
I disagree totally with that. I think he's a really good quarterback. But the playoffs are different. Like, you gotta play up to the moment. You can't let the moment be too big for you. I think it was a little bit. I think that was a little. It was like a little bit. You saw pressure a little bit last week.
Yeah.
Now the Lions secondary, he's going to get opportunities because they're not good.
I know.
So,
I know, and you know,
yeah.
Is Debo playing?
I think he's still questionable. Let me see.
Okay.
Let me see. I think it's 50-50.
Because
he didn't practice. But
that's going to be big when we say, hey, we love the splits when everybody's healthy. I don't love the splits when like Debo's hurt. When it comes to especially
when he's not playing sure.
When he's not playing.
He was limited on Thursday. Ooh. Limited in practice. I don't know. I feel like he's gonna play.
If he has any chance of playing, he'll play. How healthy he's gonna be,
right?
I don't know. Right?
Yeah.
Is he gonna play the whole game? I don't know.
Yeah, he's a big loss for sure. He's a big loss because he can run the ball too. So they lose a lot with him. Other guys are going to have to step up. Now the question is, like, does it matter against the Lions secondary because it's not good.
Yes,
like
we're
talking dead last 32nd in the NFL. Yeah,
but
so
I think it does matter because Debo changes the scheme. Like, you can put Ayuk in some of those places where he's getting the ball behind the line of scrimmage, and you're moving him at running back, you're motioning him out,
little screens and stuff.
Yeah, they do a lot of reads with Debo, bring him to the backfield.
Yep,
doing options where they go, okay, if it looks good, we'll just hand the ball off to Debo. If not, we'll split him out wide and run a pass play. That you're now contracting the playbook. Yeah, right.
True.
Or you're putting Ayuk there and you're putting who on the outside.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is Marquise Goodwin still on that team? Like
Jennings. You still can't, and also you definitely cannot replace his yards after the catch.
Right.
They're, dragging guys with him.
Yeah.
And those sometimes turn, into like first downs where you would have to be a third down or fourth down. Like, so he's a huge factor in this game. But I just think he's going to play. Like, if you're limited in practice on a Thursday, I think he plays.
Yeah.
Like, you got
it's
NFC
hard.
Championship, you got to go.
Yeah, you know,
gotta go.
maybe we could throw the meme up of it's like I forgot what the picture was, but it was like it was like a picture of what's his name. He's like the face when you dump the ball off for 3 yards and
Oh yeah, yes, I know what you're talking
and
about.
Christian McCaffrey
yeah.
or somebody else takes it 80 yards downfield
Yes.
after the catch.
Yes.
Like that.
That's what Debo does. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what Debo does.
Yeah.
So, but I agree. The 7.5 here feels really
It's
good.
too much. Yeah.
It feels really good.
Yeah, because this feels to me like even if they win, it's a touchdown or less game.
They're not gonna blow them out.
I don't. I think the Goff outdoors thing is a little bit like overblown a little bit.
74, no wind.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Clear
saying.
skies.
Yeah, exactly. Because
That's
everyone's
about
like
as close
everyone's
to an
like
indoor
Goff
game.
outdoors, and I'm like, but it's not like he's in the snow.
Yeah.
You know?
They're out.
Yeah.
They're out in San Francisco.
Yeah,
it's going
it's
to be
gonna
a
be
good
fine.
day.
It's
I
gonna
looked
be
at the
fine.
weather, guys.
Yeah.
7-day forecast.
He's going to be fine. And you know what? This year he's played like they've got something special going on in Detroit. He's played really well. Like he's avoided those big mistakes that we kind of know him for, except for when he played the Bears, which we were happy about. We had the Bears,
Yeah.
but like other than that, he's like been pretty good with the football in terms of taking care of it. And that running game is just
So
tell you that's what scares me in this game from the Niners. Like I don't want to see Gibbs moving the ball on us. Like that's going to scare me if you watch that game and unless they find a way to limit them.
Jared Goff, one of the best play action passers.
That's right.
in the league since his Rams days.
Yeah.
It was like
Yeah,
one
yeah.
of the best things that you can get him going.
People like they like to shit on him a little bit, but this guy went to a Super Bowl.
Right.
He's not a bad quarterback at all.
Who's better to lose in a Super Bowl than Jared Goff?
He's a losable face.
He is such a losable personality and
Like,
face.
all right, we need to give it to this guy. Let's get Goff in there.
Yeah, you put Goff in there, and they're like, "Oh, the Lions, they made it to." That's crazy. I'll watch.
Yeah.
And then whoever's on the other side wins.
Yeah.
And then you just pan to Goff, and you see his flat affect walking off the field, and you're like, "Yeah, that guy.
like that works out.
That guy could lose.
We're happy.
He could lose a game."
Could you imagine the Lions in the Super Bowl, dude? Wow, what would that be like? Oh my gosh. Because I feel like everyone's expecting Niners Ravens. Imagine one of these teams. Well, the Chiefs would not be really an upset in my mind, but the Lions would be a huge upset.
How I just want to know how the Lions can go 0-16 and then potentially get to a Super Bowl. My Jets
Yeah.
haven't been to a playoff game.
Listen, we don't have to go down this. We don't have to do this. We don't have to go down this road. I don't know. Yeah, I know it's been brutal. I don't understand what the problem is really.
I haven't had a Jets playoff game
in a long time.
since my brain has fully developed.
It's been a while for us. Yeah, got the little Jets football right there. It's been a while.
Keep it little. If we can make it bigger as they get better on the podcast,
Each time, every week it grows if they get a win. Yeah.
it's gonna be hard to source.
Pause. Yeah.
But they get to a Super Bowl, it's just taking over the entire studio space.
That would be awesome.
All right.
But yeah, I think I'm leading Lions, and we'll finish off with some stats. So the Lions 8-2 against the spread in their last 10 road games, 17-4 as a dog under Dan Campbell, and
San Francisco
0-6 last 6 home games against the spread. So listen, I mean, to me, it's just about who can run the ball. Clay Blakeman is the referee, by the way. He's a Niners. He's going to be a home team ref. So 60% to the home team
against the spread or
against the
straight
spread.
up? Okay.
So that's to the nine. Oh, so that's against the spread of a touchdown or more.
Gotcha.
So it's -7 or more.
Okay.
He is also like 68%, I think, to home teams, but a lot of them are like big favorites, so it's not profitable.
Yep.
But for me, this is Detroit or nothing. The other game, I lean Ravens, but I could make a case for either side. But for me in this game, I think it's Detroit or nothing.
Yeah.
I think you either take the super, super hungry dog or you just let this one kind of let it go.
I like it.
I mean, couldn't you see Detroit, like the Lions having a lead late in this game?
Yeah.
And then the same thing as last week, the Niners have like a little drive with 4 or 5 minutes left, take the lead, and then it's over.
Right.
That's
It's like
what I feel.
and then Jared Goff, sad puppy face.
Like a 27-23, and we cover.
Right.
That's kind of what I'm feeling on this one. So
book it, hammer it.
all right.
No, don't
So that's it. Championship Sunday, man.
Yeah.
No UFC this weekend, right?
Nope. We got some
All right,
leans
well-
that we like, but we'll talk about that next week.
Next week. We'll do it next week. And next week, no football. So I'll come on here ready with some college hoops, which we are on a crazy run. We're on like a 68% run. We're doing
just
great
make it up.
this month. And,
I said no, just make it up.
Just make it. Oh yeah, we're on an 89%. Yeah. No, we've been killing college basketball since January 1st, basically since the new year. NBA season, we're up over I think 12 units or so. The spreadsheet's on the website, so if you guys want to check it out over there, the weekend pass is up, and that is pretty much it.
And next week, We're going to talk about a lot of UFC, so put your gloves on.
Let's go.
I might put mine on.
Bring them.
Just hold the mic with
with the gloves on.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you next week.
Later.
Peace.